so you can't braid. You can't cornrow. Here's how you can achieve a short platinum blonde fro with no cornrows, no leave out, no sew in, and no worries. So I started out on Fresh Clean Hair, and I wanted to keep this fast and budget friendly. I used one of these crochet caps. You can get them from the beauty supply or you can get them from Amazon. I just went ahead and installed it over these two just loose twists that I had. And the cap itself was enough to compress the hair and hold it down. I pulled it back because one of the things that can make this style turn out really more natural looking is if you have the cap far back enough that the hair goes in easily. I used this hair and decided that I was going to cut it into two pieces at first, but then I chose to cut it into three instead, since I'm going to be keeping this really short and I want it long enough that I can cut it a little bit once I get it in. So here you see again, I was going to cut it in two, but decided to go ahead and cut it into the three sections, trying to make it as equal as possible, just so that I could have shorter pieces to work with. And this is what it looks like. That's about how long the pieces should be. And I split them into two, and in some cases I split them even further because you don't want the hair to be too thick when you put it in. So from there, I just got right to work. I started installing the hair using the pretty traditional crochet method. And after I got that first piece in, I decided to flip the band of the crochet cap underneath to reduce bulk. Now, one of the awesome things about creating this hairstyle is that you don't have to be super careful or meticulous about where you're placing the hair. That makes it so easy to do on yourself. This is the type of hairstyle where you don't want it to be too full, because less is more in this case. And there's something about having super dense hair in a short afro when it's a crochet install that will make it look so fake. So I like to be really sort of mindful not to put too much hair in. This again is a case where less is more. And you don't have to follow like some sort of pattern like you do with many hairstyles, like where you've got to set up a grid and maybe start in the back and, install maybe 10 pieces on the bottom row and 8 pieces on the next row. This, you don't have to do all that. You just want to put the hair where it's needed, and you don't want to put too much. So I just went ahead and started filling up that top section, and I actually like to be able to see a little bit of the black underneath, because it almost gives it the feeling of an ombre effect, or like the effects when maybe you have dyed your hair and the hair is growing in a little bit underneath. It just makes it look more natural, in my opinion. And if you're using like your own color, like if you're using black or 1B, you really don't have to worry about it at all. You don't have to worry about like those roots peeping out from underneath. I did forget to mention that I started changing my technique with tying the hair. I don't plan to leave this in forever, like maybe a week, a little less than 2 weeks I plan to leave this in. And even if I was going to leave it in longer, because this hair is shorter and it's not hair that I'm going to be combing through, instead of doing the traditional interlocking method where you loop the hair through and do the crochet that way, I just started tying it because I figured it's going to be easier to take out. And because the hair is short, it doesn't need like the same kind of strength that it would need if it was longer, straighter hair. That's because the hair is short, one, and also because the texture is so kinky. So ladies, the rest of this little section is pretty much me doing the same thing over and over, just filling in the hair where I feel like it's needed and being sure to not make it too much, especially around the edges. I've seen videos where people really pack this hair in and then take a shears and cut it and, edge up the hairline and whatnot. And that's just not the look I'm going for. I'm going for something much softer. To be honest with you, the rest of this little section is kind of monotonous, so I'm going to go ahead and speed it up. I don't want to leave any parts out just in case there's something that you might need to refer to. I might, cut a little bit out here and there, but for the most part, I am just going through filling the hair in as needed. Again, being sure not to put in too much and also being sure to check for spots where I might have missed. And I can use my mirror just to find out where those spots might be. And we just want enough to be able to cover everything in a natural looking manner. Whew. Overall, it took less than an hour to put all of this hair in. And now it's time to just sort of cut away what doesn't belong. Now, this part also depends on your individual desire, your individual desired shape, and you don't have to be a barber to just sort of go in and take off what you don't need. The great thing too is if you take off too much somewhere, you can always go back and replace it just as quickly as you took it off. So as you can see, I'm just kind of cutting it in a way where it's not so short that too much of the roots underneath, meaning the black part, shows through. But I want to cut it into like a little bit of something that has some shape. So I'm just going around snipping, back combing in some areas to soften it up, especially around the hairline. Now, like I said, some people at this point would go in with a pair of clippers or a shears, an electric one, and just shape it up that way. But because I want like a very soft kind of feminine look, I'm choosing to just go in with the regular scissors and snip away what's not needed. And as you can see, it's already starting to like take a little shape to it. And I'm just going to go ahead and continue that, being really careful about not taking too much off around the hairline, and then going back and just again softening up that hairline, making it look really soft and fluffy and feminine. I'm not someone who likes like a real barbered, like lined up looking edge. I feel like that can look a little bit too harsh for me. If you prefer that type of look, you can go ahead and do that. But I'm just opening it up somewhat, just again to soften things up. And I, for one, also like my ears exposed. And I don't like them, though, exposed without something like a little bit soft in front of them. So I will just go ahead and just shape that up around the hairline, shape it up around the ears. Again, just taking off what it looks like needs to be removed until I have it into a shape that I'm kind of satisfied with. And even then, I will still go in and just kind of soften it up by just using the pads of my fingertips to do that. Just going to put on a little makeup, and here's the finished look, ladies. What do you think? I kind of really love this. It's really what I had in mind. And I probably will do this again, maybe with number 1B or maybe some sort of a red color. And when you switch out your earrings, it gives it an even other vibe, which I really like. Do you think you'd try this? If you would like some information about the hair or anything that I used, please check the description below. I'll try to link the hair if I can find a link to it. It's a number 613, which is like this beautiful platinum blonde color. If you'd like more videos like this, please give us a thumbs up. Please subscribe so you don't miss anything when I post more. And please follow us so you'll be notified when we post more videos. I hope I'll see you again soon.